get started. Good morning, everyone. As Donnie said, I'm Ryan McLaughlin, and I'll show you my picture here. That's me.
And I'm Casey. I'm Casey Menish. I'm your 2025 board president at NVAR.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
So we want to start with, we don't like to take for granted what you know about NVAR, what you don't. So we'll go through a couple of things about our mission. We want to talk about some of the benefits and services that you have available to you. Then we want to give a little bit of a market update from the most recent data that just came out for the month of February, and the landscape, our forecast for 2025. Talk about what everybody's talking about right now, which is the impact of federal government changes on the workforce, things like that. And then take your questions if you have any. We'd love to interact throughout the program, so please, raise your hand if you have something or there's something we might have missed. So a couple things. First, NVAR is over 100 years old now. We've been around for a long time. We celebrated our 100-year anniversary in 2021. Pretty exciting. And we have no plans of going anywhere anytime soon. We expect to be here for another 100 years. We've got nearly 13,000 members. As Donnie mentioned, we're one of the largest associations in the country. Typically, so there's about 1,000 realtor associations across the U.S. Typically, we're in the top 20 in terms of size. Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean for you? Why does that matter? Well, because we have resources, including financial, staffing, and volunteer and member resources that other associations just might not have to be able to provide continued value to you. And that's something that's really important to us, including the fact that we have the 33 staff that are here to help you every day. Mm-hmm. But this is what our mission is. And I'll start with, and Casey, jump in on any of these here. There's really kind of three things we focus on. Number one is value. Making sure that when you pay your dues every year, which we know can be painful, it's not exciting, you're regularly questioning, what am I paying for? What do I get in return for my dues? We work really hard every day under the leadership of our board of directors and Casey Menish to make sure that you get a significant return on your investment. Mm-hmm. We feel like you get a significant return on your investment if you're taking advantage of what's available to you. For the $295 of dues that you pay to NVAR, now, stepping back, we know you're paying more than that. You're paying Virginia Association of Realtors, and you're also paying national. You've got Central Lock fees. You've got Bright MLS. We're very cognizant of that. But for what you get from NVAR, we think there's a great value. I saw some nodding heads here for the audience that's here. We see a lot of engaged people. Yes. But that's number one. The second is innovation. We really try to bring the best products and services to you, whether it's classes, programs, products, technologies, to make sure you're ahead of the game in the industry, and then impact in the industry. And we do that in a couple ways. One is through advocacy, representing your interests at the state, local, and federal level, making sure that elected officials know where we stand on issues that concern the real estate industry, being the voice of real estate in the region, which has become more important now than ever. We get data, we put it out there, we try to create the story and the message for the region about the marketplace. And then the third way is through community service. We know a lot of you are involved in community service. Casey was chair of our NVAR Cares Committee a couple of years ago. We do a lot to engage in the community and give back. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to share, our mission. It's not just something that we wrote in 1921 and then, never touched it again. It's something that we revisit every 3 years. So the start of last year, we did a strategic planning retreat as a board, and we revised it. And we wanted to make sure that we were addressing not only what our members need now, but what they're going to need from us 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And so that's where we came up with our, value, innovation, and impact. And really those strategic drivers drive everything that we do at NVAR, everything we do, every decision we make as a board. That's always top of mind, is how does this impact our members?
Mm-hmm. Good. And so you see here on the screen just a little bit more about those strategic, the mission, those three elements: value, innovation, and impact, and how important they are to what we do. You have to have, all of you run a business. You can't get to where you want to go without having a plan to help you get there. That's what this strategic plan is. This is why the board does this every couple of years, to make sure we're getting to where we need to be. You want to mention this one?
I would love to. Right. So this is something, meeting members where they are. It's kind of an internal, guiding light for us, is we want to, at NVAR, meet our members where they are. It really started a lot with COVID. People were not coming into the association office as much anymore, and so we wanted to be able to reach our members where they are, provide them the products and services that they need. And we did a study a couple of years ago to see our members, really, where do they live, where do they work, where do they transact business, where do they want to transact business, because I'm sure you all know it seems like it's moving further and further away from DC, where your clients are going to live, because that's where the homes are being built, right? So we wanted to see where our members actually live and work and do business, and we found that about 2,000 of our members live in Loudoun County. And so because of that, we want to meet our members where they are. And with the help of Donnie and a couple of other brokers and leaders in, excuse me, not Donnie. Yes, Donnie. Sorry. Forgive me. Casey, because my name is Casey Sampson is always the name that comes to mind. So I always want to call Donnie Casey. Forgive me. But but we got a group of local kind of brokers together and tried to help identify where should we move. And Loudoun County was really where we wanted to move our second office. So some of you may have been to our Herndon office before. That shut down about a year ago. It really just wasn't meeting the needs of our members. It wasn't being used nearly as much as it should. And so we're going to be opening an office in One Loudoun in Ashburn starting June 1st. That's our target date. So we look forward to that. We know a lot of, thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice.
We know a lot of Sampson agents live and work and do business in Loudoun County. So we hope you'll take advantage of that office being there.
How many of you live in Loudoun County? Okay. How many of you have done a transaction in Loudoun? Okay, basically
About the whole room. Yeah.
And of those of you that didn't raise your hand, how many of you would like to do a transaction in Loudoun County, or would do it? Okay, so we see the evolution of our membership and where it's going, as Casey mentioned. Herndon made sense for us 20 years ago when we moved and opened that location. But what we saw is an evolution of where you all are doing business, as Casey mentioned, and so we wanted to meet you where you are. So this is where we want to be. If everybody knows One Loudoun. All right. Okay, it's only up the street here. It's not far. Here you see a picture of a screenshot of where the signage is going to be. We've got a premier location right on the plaza. We're at they call it downtown, which I just learned recently. There's an uptown and a downtown in One Loudoun. It's right on the plaza where the movie theater is, third floor, looking over the plaza. Really nice suite. It's about 2,100 square feet of space, just enough for what we need to have classes, to have a place for you to record podcasts and videos where we have that as a member service, to purchase products from our realtor store, to meet with your clients and have a space to do that, and to network with your colleagues. One of the things you'll see here is on this slide is one of the things we're looking to is a possible Gainesville office as well next year. So part of that study that we did was identifying where you're all doing your business, and what we found was over 1,000 of you, I want to say it was around 1,300 or 1,400 of you, that are NVAR members live in Prince William. And so similar to our approach with identifying the Loudoun location, we're looking at potentially opening up a Gainesville office as well. Are any of you Prince William members or Dulles members here? Yeah. Okay, I see some. Okay, so Prince William, we have a great amount of respect for our neighboring associations. We have great relationships with them. I personally have great relationships with the CEO, April Thomas, and the former CEO of DAR. We've been very transparent about what we're trying to do to meet our members where they are. That's our intent. Where that leads to down the road, we don't know, but we need to be where you are, and so look for that potential in 2026 as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty exciting. All right, we'll highlight some of the member benefits and go from there.
Absolutely.
I want you to take advantage of them.
Yeah. So one of the first things, this was something that we did within the last few years, was we started offering continuing education as a complimentary member benefit to our members. So I'm sure, especially the people in the room know, you get so much more out of being in person. And the folks online, we also have hybrid classes as well. You get so much more out of having a live instructor than just kind of going through, doing an open note test, getting through your CE every 2 years. And so that was something that we really wanted to do, is we wanted to engage our members and have that actually be a learning opportunity and not just something we have to do to keep our license going. So that was something we introduced within the last couple of years.
Yeah, it was a big investment into all of you. It's not, it was a big investment. The board at the time recognized things were changing in the industry. You were expecting higher amounts of value from your association, and one of the biggest priorities for us is increasing professionalism, and this was a way to do that. Now, you have someone like Donnie as your CEO, who's a great leader and offers you all sorts of great programming, and you should take advantage of that. But also know you have a partner in NVAR that you can get your complimentary continuing education. We put on anywhere between 200 to 400 events a year when you include our continuing education plus our forum events, networking events, lots of great content, lots of great exposure that you can get to other members and topics. And they are often offered online and in person. So come to our headquarters. How many of you have been to our headquarters in Fairfax? Great.
Awesome.
Hopefully you take as much pride in it as we do. It's a beautiful building, a great place to network, and it's your building. The other one we want to mention is industry insights. So you have access to data through us, through our partnership with Bright MLS, but we do a lot of work with George Mason University Center for Regional Analysis. We put out a forecast every year. Has anybody seen our forecast? Okay. So we need more of you to see our forecast that we put out. So one of the things we found over the last few years is you are asking us, okay, we can get a national forecast. We can even get a state forecast, but no one's doing a regional forecast where it matters most to us and our clients.
Right.
And so we partnered up with George Mason University to really take a deep dive into what we can expect in the regional marketplace. So he does the quantitative aspect of it. He brings forward the data, he kind of runs the numbers, and then we have a group of leaders, that brokers, agents, title, anyone that's kind of experts in the industry, and we bring them together. They give the qualitative feedback and the kind of boots on the ground, and they determine a forecast for the year. So we put out our 2025 forecast in December. Typically, we meet again in June, and we reevaluate where we are. If we need to make adjustments, we know this year we're definitely going to have to get together in June, but if not earlier, because of announcements that came with the federal government workforce changes. But you have access to that, so please take advantage of it. NVAR.com/market stats. It's got the forecast report. Look through it. We break it down by Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, Loudoun, Prince William, and Stafford. And within each of those markets, we break it down even further to single-family homes, townhomes, and condos. And we look at forecasts for pricing, for number of sales, and expected inventory levels for the year. So we're really getting down into the weeds on that for you. And then twice a month, you'll see a report come out from us. Once is when the market data comes out for the month prior. We'll put out a press release. We'll put out a story on that, talk to the media about it. And then the second report we put out each month, later in the month, is when we compare how our market's performing to the national level marketplace. So NAR, the National Association of Realtors, puts out a report every month. We follow that up a few days later and say, okay, how did we do compared to the national market? So you have more of a narrative that you can talk about with your clients because we know they're all looking at the national headlines. They're not always paying attention to what's happening locally. You can counterbalance that with what's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's the last note here is our advocacy. So we do a ton of advocacy. You may have heard, I hope you've heard of NVAR PAC. But basically when you invest in NVAR PAC, it goes both to local, state, and national advocacy. And we just had an amazing legislative session in Virginia that just wrapped up, a couple weeks ago. And we were able to pass all 5 of the kind of target bills that were of high importance to the Virginia Realtors public policy. And that's because of, us getting down to Richmond, sharing our voice. And we have 2 on-staff government affairs professionals on our NVAR staff. And so that goes a long way in making sure that, the laws work for us, right? And I want to encourage you all, if that interests you, if public policy interests you, we have a public policy roundtable coming up. And that is a great way to hear from kind of like our boots on the ground members, what's going on out there and what's working for you and what's not working for you. That could be changed with public policy. Because, we don't just want the ideas to come from the top. We want to see what you're dealing with in your day-to-day basis. So I encourage you to attend that event.
Is it March 24th or 27th? It's
the 27th rings a bell.
Yeah, so please come to that.
Yes.
One other thing I want to mention about Industry Insights, we offer a service for you called realestatenews.com. You all probably have heard of Inman, RIS Media, Housing Wire. You may have access to some of that. I think you have some access to RIS Media through your Bright MLS subscription. You have access to Housing Wire through your membership with the Virginia Association of Realtors. And now through your membership with NVAR, you have access to Real Estate News, which is a news source that was created by Stefan Swanepoel, who runs the organization T360. You may have heard of the Swanepoel Trends Report. Every year they put out a trends report in the industry. I'm sure Donnie is familiar with that report. It is the authoritative report each year that's put out on what's expected in the industry and trends. They created a news publication, a news source. We like it because it's a lot more objective than some of the clickbait out there. They're very much industry, I'd say friendly, so to speak, where they just kind of give you the information. They're not putting a headline on it that's against realtors and talking about how badly things are going. They're giving you the facts so you have the information. So please check that out. That's a complimentary subscription as a part of your member dues.
Absolutely. And that's something that you can easily, I'm going to skip to the third one here. That's something you can easily access on the NVAR app. Does anyone in the room, have you downloaded the NVAR app just yet?
Yes.
Devin, love it.
Right.
Good. Awesome. A lot of
Nice.
hands raised. Well, here's a QR code. If you don't yet have it, highly recommend the NVAR app. It's kind of meeting members where they are. It's bringing us to your phone, which is where you transact a lot of your business, spend a lot of your time. And the real estate news, that's one of the first things on the homepage. You can easily access, stay up to date with what's going on in the market. You have your market statistics right at the top. You know about all of our events that are coming up. And it takes, has anyone registered for an event on the app? It takes truly like 2 seconds, right? It's quick and you're done. Click and you're done, rather. You can access our legal hotline. There's just a wealth of resources on the app. So I highly recommend it if you haven't yet downloaded.
It's an awesome tool.
Yeah.
We're really excited about it. And this is only phase one. This is what we've put out there for you is kind of, I wouldn't say basic, but it's the information we knew you needed right away. But wait till June when we roll out our second phase of the app where it's going to be even more engaging for you. But please take advantage of it if you haven't and share it. Share it with people. We have some exclusive content that we released on the app yesterday, a video featuring Casey Menish interviewing Samantha Tunador, Atlantic Coast Mortgage, talking about the impacts of the federal government workforce changes from the lending perspective. Really valuable video. So you log into the app, it's right there. You click on it, it'll take you to an exclusive video. There you can learn more. Yeah. All right. We'll pause there for a second. Are there any questions on that, your NVAR benefits and membership before we go to the market?
We'll have the mic come down.
One up top or in the front here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Donnie.
I always take NVAR class in Herndon. So hard to go down the Fairfax usually so early, 8:45. So glad you have someone else coming.
Yes.
And you have a specific time when I can get that, and anytime you can get the NVAR member for free CE.
So all of our courses they do it at varying times. They try to match, when our members seem to be most available. So there's different times that you can do it. It's not like on demand, but you can find that either on our website or on the app. There's all of the classes listed out there. And real quickly, to your point about the Herndon office, the one Loudon, we tracked it. It's maybe like an additional 10-minute drive from where Herndon was. So I hope that'll be a convenient location for you too.
Yeah. So what am saying is that no charge for NVAR member is any time you can take? Oh,
basically, any class,
okay.
any of our continuing education, post-licensing, so if you're newer licensing, broker continuing education, all complimentary.
Okay, that's what I meant.
The way that we typically roll it out is each month, every other month, we do 1 month where everything's in person, and then the other month we typically will do all virtual, but it's instructor-led. It's not a video you're watching, a recorded video. Also, our Saturday classes have been extremely popular. That's easily our most popular class, averaging about 80 students a Saturday on continuing education classes. So check those out. We will be offering Saturday classes in One Loudon once we're up and running. Yeah, cool.
Hi, my name is Jess. How are you today? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Mike's saying, uh-oh.
You had mentioned working together with PWAR as you're expanding out, possibly into Gainesville. And just wondering if there's any possible future combination. Maybe PWAR becomes part of NVAR, or how does that work? And will we know about this? And, are there any plans for something like that?
I'll let you address that one, Ryan.
I like the word that you use, combination, as opposed to the third rail, which is merger or acquisition. Or I think that if I were to project out to the future, it makes sense for this region to be working together as an association. We hear the feedback from brokers. We hear the feedback from agents. You want seamless ability to do business across marketplaces. You don't want to have to pay different sets of dues. You want to go where the highest value is and maybe the least expensive. We hear that. So can I predict that Prince William and us would merge one day or consolidate? I can't predict that. So in the meantime, and we've been very transparent about that, we just need to be where our members are. We would love to have that conversation if they would be willing to have it. We don't know if that's going to be the case. We've had similar conversations like that with Dulles over the years, and the Dulles Association of Realtors, and I'm just not sure that they're ready for that.
I wish that everybody would be one association and we could all just combine resources, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
In terms of the benefits, I am an NVAR member, and forewarn is I wanted to just give props to that. That is probably one of the best apps that I've used in terms of safety and security.
Absolutely.
But I often wonder, and NVAR app is also good, but I often wonder what would be the next most underutilized app that you guys would recommend that NVAR has as a benefit for members?
Of an app.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, Bright just launched Nestfully, which seems to be
Growing. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
From an app perspective, maybe Nestfully, but it's through your Bright subscriptions. Anybody familiar with Nestfully? Have you seen it? Check it out. Download it. It's included in your subscription fee with Bright MLS. It's a client relationship tool. Search functionality. Think of it like a Realtor.com app where clients can search for homes, but they can connect with you and communicate with you through that app. It's pretty awesome. But I think to your question, if it's what's an underutilized benefit maybe that NVAR offers, or a benefit that could be utilized more often, legal hotline's one that always comes up. Do you want to talk about the value of that?
Yeah, the legal hotline. I feel like
We have Mike.
Mike's cheering back there. Mike, well, that's good. You should talk to Mike.
Guys, there's only one mic. So
Yeah. Incredible. I feel like you know, we've said it before, you make one call and that's your $295 dues versus having to call an attorney, right? So it's a phenomenal resource. I think technically they say that they'll get back to you within 1 or 2 business days,
day.
but I feel like they're calling me within an hour of when I call them with a question. Maria and Aryan.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah. That's cool. Our staff, they're phenomenal.
Take advantage of that service.
Please.
We'll take one more, and maybe we'll.
Yeah, okay. I have one question here. So, talking more about NAR and VAR, like, why do we really need the Virginia Association in that case? Like, because I still don't understand why we are paying like 3 dues here. You know, like I can understand the difference between a national level as well as in a local level. I think which is what matters for the business, being a real estate business, right? The state, I do not know. Like it's like federal government versus the state government. Like why do you want to have 3 layers over here? What is the purpose of VAR?
So just personally, what I take away from Virginia Realtors, their advocacy is incredible and does amazing work for us. I think, especially if you think back to a time like COVID, where a lot of states were shut down. They weren't selling real estate. Think of like Pennsylvania. Because of our relationships in Richmond, we were able to continue transacting business during COVID, where a lot of our realtor peers in other states weren't. That's kind of an obvious one for me is the advocacy work that they do. Forewarn, which David just mentioned, that was actually originally offered as an NVAR member benefit, and Virginia saw the value of it, and they actually offered it and spread it out to all Virginia Realtors now have access to Forewarn for safety. So those are just a couple things from Virginia Realtors. Yeah, I don't know if you want to weigh in on Virginia and NAR.
No, I think that you got it. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going because we got market updates and we're happy to answer questions on that. But thanks for good questions. Okay, just kind of recapping 2024 quickly, just to see how this kind of plays out with how maybe you did personally in your business or the company did. Sales were up about 2.5% last year, which was we were feeling really good about that, all things considered. Last year was a big year with the settlement and all policy changes and economic shifts. So sales were up about 2.5%. Prices were up about 7%. Total sales volume was up over 10%. And month supply of inventory was up for the year. Now, it's obviously not a high month supply, but that's kind of pretty normal for our area. But month supply of inventory was up 28% to 1.3 months. And average days on the market was down to 18 days. So homes were moving pretty quick. So when we did our forecast for 2024, we actually expected originally, when we released it in December of 2023, we expected sales to be down upwards of 10% across the region. We got back together in June of last year and reevaluated where things were. And by the end of the year, we expected sales to be up around 3%. So we felt really good about the forecast and also about where we ended up. How does that line up with your own, with your own experience? Does that kind of align with what you saw last year, generally? Okay. February data just came out. So sales were a little bit soft in February, down about 8% for our region. Now, when we're talking about our region, I know Samson covers a big geographic area. We're talking here specifically about Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax region. We have data on the other counties, Loudoun, Prince William, Stafford. This is for the sort of true Northern Virginia marketplace. Sales were down about 8% in February. Median price was up, continues to rise, up about 6%. Month supply of inventory was up. Now you can see that's down from the total average last year, but it's up a little bit. and average days on market was about the same as February of last year. Pending sales were down, an indication of future activity, so we're keeping an eye on that. Housing inventory was up 31%. That's a pretty big number, so more active listings on the market. Maybe there's going to be a bit of a shift in the marketplace to help buyers out and have a little more negotiating power. Maybe you're seeing that in your transactions. Buyers, maybe they're not paying over asking, they're paying at asking. Maybe they're able to get an inspection,
home inspection,
and all this sort of stuff. So keep an eye on that. Total volume, so if sales were down, volume you can imagine was down, and then new listings coming on the market was actually down. So those kind of numbers, it's kind of interesting to see the new listings down, but total housing inventory up. January was actually a pretty strong month. Sales were up, I want to say around 8% in January. So we see a little bit of a shift. What I've heard, and weigh in, Casey or any of you, just the spring market would typically start earlier. It's starting a little bit later this year, so we might see this start to shift in March with the winter kind of weather we had in January and just the uncertainty of what was being announced in January. There might have been some pauses in activity. But do you want to add anything to that?
I feel like spring market in my mind starts right after Super Bowl Sunday, and I feel like it's a little bit delayed this year. And I think that there is kind of like that thaw after that really, really cold and snowy January that we had. I think that impacted some people's plans. And just the uncertainty of what was to come, with the new administration. Slightly delayed spring market.
Does that track with what you experienced in February generally? Okay. Are you seeing some increased activity in March? Expecting more activity in March? Yeah, that's good. I've mentioned George Mason University. I want to skip ahead from an advocacy standpoint.
Yeah.
Just go to this part because we're talking trends.
Yeah.
Okay, so we changed the slide a little bit yesterday just for a little bit more fun. Did anybody see that meme on social media? The one on the left, or I guess it's
the right for them. Yeah.
Yes.
You did.
Okay. That thing blew up. We had to block out a curse word, the red there. That thing blew up. There was 11 million, at the time, there was 11 million shares, likes on that post. Mm-hmm. If you saw what it said. Basically, this happened 3-4 weeks ago on a Sunday, and it took off, and it created a narrative in the marketplace that we had to react quickly to kind of clear the record. Mm-hmm. And what the message being conveyed here, you can see it. The wildest stuff is happening near Washington, D.C. Here's Arlington, VA. Everything is being put on the market. As if to say, oh my gosh, the market's being flooded, a fire sale, everybody's leaving D.C. because they're not sure what Trump is doing. And it was false. It was false, but it got a lot of interest, and it was brought to our attention by realtors on the streets just like you. Normally, we would kind of put that stuff aside. You kind of like, it's the internet, it's just a meme. But you were all getting questions from your clients about it, and you were asking about it, and you were reacting to it on social media, so your clients knew what was happening. So we acted really quickly, got Dr. Lisa Sturdivant involved from Bright MLS, their chief economist, got Terry Clower involved. We released the video. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. It's about 10 minutes. Now that applied to the 2-week period, the first 2 weeks of February. So that's even almost a little outdated at this point. Mm-hmm. But one of the cool things that came out of this was Bright MLS created, they call it a DC tracker. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that? Yeah. Okay. So the link is on there. Check it out. You want to see what the data says, go right to this website. You'll see the activity for the week prior. They're tracking new listings, active listings, sales price, and I think showing activity by week. Now, it's hard to paint a picture for a marketplace in a 1-week snapshot. Right. So you really you can use the data if you're curious and use it to dispel myths or ask questions or try to find stuff out, but understand it is just a week's worth of data. Mm-hmm. But what we found the first 2 weeks of data is that inventory levels and new listings was actually below the same time last February. Mm-hmm. But this gave you a different impression. So we're going to continue to get data out there to make sure we're dispelling the myths.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, my key takeaway from Dr. Sturdivant in that video was that it's not going to be this like rapid rush. Everyone lists their house the minute that they get laid off or that they're worried they might get laid off. It's going to be more gradual. People have record amounts of equity in their homes, and so they're not going to have to make these rash decisions. They're going to be able to be a little bit more calm and thoughtful and rational. And so it'll happen, maybe over the next 6 months or so. It's not going to be immediate. And that's what I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys would agree.
I would very much agree with, we travel and we talk to a lot of people about all the things going on. And think a lot of it's true that some of that inventory will come on. We've seen a little bit more of the second 2 weeks than the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We do use all the bright stuff that they send out every week in the DC tracker. I do like
Great.
a weekly update every Friday on the different regions. So actually did a little video, not as good as yours, but dispelling this stuff as well. But I think a lot of the feedback we've had, and I know Devin's sitting behind me, and a lot of the others that we've talked to, that I think people are interested, but they don't have to do it in this 5 seconds. A lot of them, even if they lost their job, they've got buyouts, they've got whatever. And, if you've got kids in school, you're not going to leave tomorrow. You're
Right.
gonna, maybe you'll sell in June. Maybe you're going to wait and see if another job comes around in the private sector that might even be better.
Right.
You've got a lot of experience. So it's not a wholesale, everybody lost jobs and got displaced, so we're all selling our houses tomorrow.
Right.
We're going to see more inventory every week because that's normal for this time of year. So
Right.
it's balancing that against what is actually going on, but what's going on in the federal government job sector or not. But we
Right.
haven't seen anything crazy. It sees some people moving back in, some people moving out, but some of that helps us because we do need a little bit more inventory in the market.
Right.
I think you said it perfectly. I mean, the one takeaway is there's so many variables to this. Is no one can pinpoint one thing that the federal government, the shift in federal government jobs is causing some sort of shift in the marketplace, or exactly what that shift will be. We have to wait and see. You made a great point. If people move out of the DC area, there may be some that are going to take advantage of that and move in. We can actually use supply in our region. Inventory's been down, it's been tight. So keep your eye on it. It sounds like you're on the ball and everyone's understanding what's happening. Any questions on that? We know that's a big topic right now.
Yeah.
Wait and see, right?
Yeah. Stay informed. Wait and see.
All right. I just want to go back to two other slides, and then we'll wrap up here. The NAR, National Association of Realtors, puts out a home buyer and seller profile every year. Are you familiar with this report? Have you ever seen it? Okay. Yeah, it's really valuable. It's kind of interesting. So I just want to run through these. We'll point out some things that we think are just kind of interesting to know, and what you do with it is up to you. But if nothing else, take advantage of that. Part of your membership with the National Association of Realtors. Someone was asking that before. They put out good research. So, home buyer characteristics in 2024. Median age of a home buyer is up to an all-time high of 56 years old. Majority of home buyers are married. First-time home buyers, the median age is up to 38 years old. And they made up 24% of the marketplace. Here's the stuff that I love to share with as an industry. 88% of home purchases were made through a real estate agent. This is on the buyer side. It's actually been higher on the seller side, working with agents. They worked with them to find the right home and to negotiate the terms of the sale. And 80% of the first-time home buyers said their agent's assistance was invaluable. So your work matters, and it makes a difference, and they see that. Looks like, Don, you want to add something to that?
My favorite stat on the whole board is the 80% of find this invaluable, because people worry about their careers. They worry about the technology coming in and taking over our space. And I think technology is here to help us become better realtors, but not to overtake us. And that 80% of first-time home buyers finding our assistance invaluable is huge. We need to keep making ourselves invaluable, and 80, 88, 90, 95% of people will continue to use us as realtors.
Anything you want to add on this slide?
I was just going to share, I think that this information is super helpful to have as you craft your marketing, as you craft your, how you work with your clients, just having an idea of who they are, where they are in their life. When you're listing a home, what age the buyer might be, if that impacts how you market the home, keeping fair housing in mind. But I think it's helpful to know who's out there, who's buying, who's selling. And we're going to move into sellers here in just a second.
This is equally as interesting, seller statistics. 77% of homes sold did not have children under the age of 18 residing in the home.
Whoa.
That seems high, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems high. I don't know what that means, and I wonder what percentage of homes in general have children under 18. But yeah, that strikes me as quite high. Yeah.
And the median number of years a seller owned their home was 10. That's steadily increasing. We know with
Yeah. It's that lock-in effect. People are staying longer.
Yeah. So that came up yesterday. Another meeting we were at like this about the 77% of children, houses without children, the married couples and the highest age. There's the silver tsunami is a word that we've heard. There's being used that people are staying in their homes longer, so they're waiting to sell. They're waiting till their kids are off to college. They've built up a lot of equity. Then they're looking to sell. So interesting. what you do with this information is really up to you, but just interesting points. Here's the good ones for the industry. 90% of sellers sold with the assistance of a real estate agent. 90%. That's higher than last year or the year prior, I believe. I think it was 88% before. 6% were sold through FSBO, through for sale by owner. That's it.
Hey, it's only 6%. All-time low.
What else are 4% there?
Right.
Yeah,
Maybe a real estate attorney or something.
Right. 66% of sellers use an agent that was referred to them or they had previously worked with. So you're all leveraging your referral networks, I'm sure. 2/3 of sellers have recommended their agent at least once since selling their home. Are your clients recommending you to their friends and family? All right.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add on these stats, Casey?
Just, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And I know we love a referral, right? That's kind of the easiest transaction you have. It's already somebody that knows, likes, and trusts you. Somebody had a great experience and they recommended you. So just be taking care of your database, be taking care of your sphere and your past clients. We offer some courses at NVAR to help you do that. We've offered ninja selling in the past. Yeah. And so just take advantage of those courses as they come out to help you kind of take care of your sphere.
Good point. We are actually going to be offering a ninja program again.
Oh, great.
I believe in April. Check out the app. I think we have it listed up there. It's just been refined. The ninja selling program has been refined a little bit to more reflect the current market dynamics. Check it out. I believe we're offering a complimentary. It's a pretty expensive class to take on your own, and you get a book with it. So we covered a lot. I think we'll just wrap up with a slide here and take any other questions you have. Do you want to add some of this about getting involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have about 30 committees at NVAR. Some are cultural groups. Some are, groups more like standard forms, grievance. We also have the NVAR Cares Committee, which is more charitably minded. International Business Forum. If you're interested in it, there's probably a committee for it. Yeah. And so I highly recommend getting involved. The applications go out a little bit later in the year, in the fall, I want to say, or late summer. So it's not quite yet time to apply to be on a committee. But if there's something that interests you, reach out to the chair. I'm sure they'd be happy to have you come as a guest and be engaged and learn. So I highly recommend that. That's how I got to where I am today. I was on NVAR Cares for the first time ever in 2018, and then jump forward, and now I'm the president somehow. I don't know how that happened so fast, but thank you guys. I appreciate it. And then we have Top Producers Club. I think a big misunderstanding a lot of people have is they're like, oh, it's just another thing you want me to pay to be able to put this logo on my email signature. But it's actually a club. It's a Top Producers Club where they network and they have masterminds, and it's a phenomenal thing that we offer at NVAR. I highly recommend it. Those applications close on March 31st. And we don't have it on the slides, but one of our things that we just launched this year that I think is invaluable in this market is the escalation addendum calculator tool. Has anyone used that yet? The NVAR one? Otherwise you're doing hours of algebra when you're calculating all these different offers. So highly recommend that. You can find that on your member dashboard on NVAR.
That's good. We need to take that down and share that, Heather, if we make that note, because I saw you guys advertised that on social or somewhere the other day.
Yeah.
And we get threads on Facebook group of 20, 25 people weighing in on how to do certain math. So it's nice to have something to help out with that.
Yeah.
NVAR.com/calculator. It'll take you to it. You do have to log in. It is an NVAR member benefit. So I'm sorry if you're not an NVAR member.
I promise we won't steal it.
Look, I'm just closing my ears. My ears.
I'm not promising anything.
Do we have any Top Producer Club members in the room here? Awesome. Thank you for that. Congratulations.
Can I apply? I don't sell very many homes anymore.
You can have an honorary membership, Donnie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got a question here.
Yeah.
It's not a question.
Great.
More of a compliment and comment. But so my second home is NVAR, the office there.
That's awesome.
I mean, I appreciate all you all do, and the staff. Everybody has the same attitude.
Yeah.
Help. I mean, beginning with Elaine, Gabby, Courtney, all you guys, and I appreciate it so much what I learned there. And I mean, I probably am there 3-4 days a week sometimes.
Yeah, you're there as much as I am.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Maybe
I am.
more.
You see me? Yeah, even more. It's just an enjoyable place to go and learn and network So I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank
Glad
you.
to say
That feels really good to hear that.
Yeah.
Especially the word you said, attitude, is something so deeply important to me personally as a CEO that I look for in staff that we hire is having a good attitude.
Yeah.
And I'll take someone with a good attitude over skills and experience any day of the week, because if you've got the right attitude, you're willing to work hard, you're willing to provide world-class customer service experiences, you're willing to make people feel good, you're willing to put in the effort, you can become a successful part of our team. So that makes me feel really good that you said that. Thank you. Yeah.
Unpaid endorsement.
Yeah. I'll give you that 20 later.
I have 2 comments and 1 question.
Sure.
First, thank you so much for having in-person training.
Absolutely.
At my age, that's what I much prefer. So thank you, and I would encourage you to continue with that. Second of all, I am thrilled at the opening of the Loudon office.
So are we.
And you made a comment that we would be able to take clients there. So my question is, off hours, are you going to have a lockbox for access?
Ooh, yeah.
That's a good question.
We won't have that. I can just tell you that. We don't do that at Fairfax.
Too bad.
Too much liability and too many. There's too many issues around that. So it'll be regular operating hours.
Weekday, yeah.
We'll have some relatively later classes, but no, it won't be like Sunday at noon. You want to meet a client there. It's more like during the week or late afternoon.
We do have a Leesburg office a mile away down at Villages Leesburg. I do want to be in one Loudon. That's the goal once that one ends. But I think I have 2 more years left in the Villages of Leesburg. So we do have an office a mile or 2 away down the street if you need off hours.
There you go.
We do allow 24/7 access.
Good.
Nice.
But he's got a lot of people that could get in there and mess it up. So.
Yeah.
We do. Have you ever utilized our locker box system at NVAR Fairfax, where you can order a product? First of all, that was one other thing about the app. You can buy, if you go on our app, you can shop our realtor store. It's like shopping on Amazon almost.
Yeah.
But you
better.
can order but better. I love that. Yeah. But you can order a product. You can have it shipped to your house, shipped to your office. You can come pick it up, or we can put it in our locker box system, which is available to you any time of the day. We put it in there. You pick it up at your convenience. It's like an Amazon locker type of situation.
Yeah. I used it the other day. I was like up late at night thinking about like listings that I had coming on. I was like, oh, I need one of those lockbox buddy things that like makes it hang off the railing. I ordered it at like 12:15 a.m. and the next morning I popped into NVAR just because I was going to be there anyway, and they had it ready for me. It was so convenient. So highly recommend.
I'm sure there is a fascinating backstory that we don't know. So can you comment on politics and pancakes?
You gave us a tricky one.
Thought we were getting out of here with. Oh boy. How many of you followed that scenario last week? Anybody? Okay, a couple of you.
Ago, yeah.
Donnie was texting me about it. Everybody can make a mistake, I think, and we just ask for your grace. We made a bit of a mistake there, and I'd say the mistake was getting ahead of ourselves with the messaging. Also, maybe not being as sensitive to the dynamics of the local marketplace and the intensive divide that exists politically, which I think shocked a lot of us. So we had to make a pretty quick decision. It wasn't easy. Talk to the leadership team about that. We really had. We don't need uninvited issues. We need to focus on the real estate industry and benefits and services to all of you. So we just made a change in direction of speaker that we're selecting for politics and pancakes. We want to make sure that it's a balanced perspective, that there's both sides are being heard, and that was the intent of the program originally. That didn't convey in the message. It just showed one featured speaker, a conservative speaker. The intent is still to get some sort of a conservative speaker, maybe not quite as high profile as the one that we announced, but it's going to be balanced by having local Democratic elected officials, lobbyists from NAR, one that lobbies on the Republican side of the Senate, one that lobbies on the Democratic side of the House. So the intent is to be informative, it's to be relatively balanced, and we missed the mark on that. We made a mistake, we corrected it pretty quickly, and we feel like we're moving on from it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah.
We can talk offline if you want.
I think the silver lining of that was how engaged our members are. Like we heard immediately from people on that one. And that means a lot to me that you're that passionate and you're that involved and you feel that directly connected to us, that you called us, you emailed us, you texted us. Like I see that as the takeaway, the silver lining, that you're that engaged in NVAR. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's me again. So Steve answered this question for me, before we started, my question was who oversees Bright? And they are independently owned, I'm assuming. And then, so my question though for you guys is, are there any plans to provide input on the new disclosure form that Bright has started requiring for us? Because it is the most asked question that I get from our realtors in my office. How the heck do I fill out this form and guide my client? Are there plans to help them tweak that and make it more clear or make it go away or anything like that?
So Bright is actually owned by the realtor associations in the Mid-Atlantic. So it's shareholder owned. We're one of the owners.
Okay.
So it's within the sort of realtor family. Feedback on the forum you could share with me. I sit on the board of directors now. This is my second year as the association executive function. They put one association executive who runs a realtor association on it. I can take your feedback. We've gotten feedback on it. I think from a legal and liability standpoint, it's not going to go away. I don't want to speak on behalf of Bright, but I don't know that it's going to go away. There's too much at stake, and the MLSs were at the center of the litigation and the lawsuit. So, but for terms of tweaks and refinements, please share your feedback. Happy to take that back to them.
Okay, thanks.
We didn't mention forms, and that was a kind of a key benefit that I don't want to take for granted either.
Yeah.
The standard forms that you use in this marketplace, I would venture to guess you're all using the NVAR standard forms. That's something that we create, that your peers create. We have a standard forms committee. Mike, I think you've been on that committee, or you're on the committee now, or others have been on that committee. Dan Withers, people that have been on that committee. Mm-hmm. That's a really big benefit that we provide that's included for you. And it reflects our marketplace. You have a say in what they look like, what they say, changes, enhancements. We make changes usually twice a year based on law changes, but also feedback and changes in the market. And we also have a way for you to access those forms to do e-signature and digital transaction management through Docs Plus by Remind. And I'm sure you use a platform internally, maybe I think it might be SkySlope or something like that. And you should continue to use that. Clearly use that for your brokerage. But if you need a supplemental way of, even if you just need cloud-based storage, you can use that as an included member benefit, no additional cost for you. But the forms are something we would take a lot of pride in, and we're proud of as a member benefit for NVAR.
And I've been really proud of, part of being involved with NVAR. I'm also on the National Association of Realtors board. And so I talk with realtors from all throughout the country. And it strikes me as some people that are outside of our region, they're really, when those practice changes went into place in August, they're really dragging their feet. They're really trying to find loopholes of ways that I can communicate compensation in the MLS and get away with it and try and find a loophole. Where I feel like NVAR, our realtors, our members in this region, we're really just okay, this is the new change. This is how we're going to address it. We're going to be straightforward with our buyers, straightforward with our sellers. This is how it's negotiated. It's always been negotiable, frankly, but this is how it's negotiated. And we're going to, you like to use that Wayne Gretzky quote ski to where the, skate to where the puck is going, not where it was. Yeah. And I'm just really proud of our region for being so forward thinking and going to where the puck is going.
Yeah, we had some really good input from very influential brokers like Donnie and many others in the region. We weren't just going it alone, and we got their feedback, and there was consensus. We're a leading organization and leading industry. We want to position ourselves for the future. We want to rip the Band-Aid off and get to where we need to go, not kind of incrementally do it. And as a result of that, we released our forms last year, and there was a lot of learning, and you all embraced it, and you adapted. But what we saw is other parts of the Mid-Atlantic started following what NVAR was doing with our forms changes. So it was, we feel like we got it right. Don't always get it right. We make some mistakes, right, Andy? But I feel like we do. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much the way you guys provide the facility. And I noticed the way the NVAR work is to follow the D-gate models. Do it great every time. And keep going, So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Bib. Bibs is you're another regular at NVAR. You take advantage of your membership. Appreciate your engagement.
Also, if you forget his name, it's very good.
Well, his son's name is Ryan. I know that. We share that.
I want to thank NVAR for all the form changes last year. Actually, fantastic job.
Thank you.
And the seminars and training here at Samson was also very, very good. I truly appreciate it. Also, it would be good to have the in-person economic forecast seminars like we used to have it with Dr. Fulla. He used to give a great analysis and bring in his expertise. And somehow every time, even in 2008 and 9, even though the data is bad, we always stepped out with a positive attitude. So I request you to bring back in person, by economic professors or something. That would make us feel good today.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
So it was on pause for a couple of years. The attendance started waning and just things were happening post-pandemic. But we brought it back last year and it was well received. We had brought economic development organization leaders and economists last year. I want to say we had it at the Fairview Park Marriott in Falls Church. We are doing it again. I believe it's in June and it's going to be here in Loudoun. I can't think of the name of the place, but it's a community center. And we're going to have a really great lineup. So plan to come to that. Fuller is no longer involved with the Center for Regional Analysis, but Dr. Terry Clower has basically taken over his role, and it's been like that for the last 7 or 8 years. He's really great. We're working on getting an NAR economist and also a regional economist as well.
We got it in with Yoon, being close. So it's easy to get the NAR economist, right? You get one more? I'm going to let Michelle go
I
first.
was just going to say that I was on forms for 3 years, and if you don't know why the forms are the way they are, or you want input on the forms, that's an amazing committee. You learn that your view isn't the only view, and that they do work really hard to balance the managers, the brokers, the agents, everybody. And there are so many lawyers and so many people that are all inputting in it. It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
Getting involved is one of the best things I ever did. So thanks for picking me on a couple different committees now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, if anyone ever has some input on the forums, if there's something that's not working for you that you think could serve better, if it was tweaked a little bit, reach out to the legal hotline because that's where they send those complaints or those suggestions directly to the Standard Forms Committee.
It's actually the first thing they review is the legal hotline questions or comments that week or that since our last meeting, whatever it is. And they take all those in very first. So if you have something, definitely say it.
Yeah.
Donnie mentioned Lawrence Yoon. We had him at our convention back in the fall at Capital One Hall. Did anybody go to that event? Okay. If you didn't go, you missed out on a really amazing event.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it again at Capital One Hall. The feedback was tremendous. It's an awesome event planned for that. I want to say it's October 14th or
Sounds
so.
right. Yeah.
You'll hear a lot more about that.
Okay. I have a quick follow-up on that because it really varies. National data to, between Loudoun and I'm in Fairfax, Oakton, Vienna, Arlington. So we need the data to be specific to address those regions. So for me, the data of Loudoun or West Virginia or Richmond has no use. So what I'm looking for, it would be good if they could pick on that.
There is some information you can get through Bright. I think they break it down. They might break it down by maybe county level.
They do
I
it by
think.
county,
by county. So they may
That's
not go
great.
by town. The forecast, one of the challenges we've had, because we do put out a forecast for Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax. The smaller the market is, the harder it is to make an accurate forecast.
Right.
So we've had some struggles with that. You project one additional sale in Arlington, and that changes the median sales price. But good feedback, and we can look at what we can do to improve that. Yeah.
Good?
We're good. Yeah. Thanks for all the
All
time.
right, I think we're going to
appreciate
finish that up. So we thank you to Ryan and Casey.
Appreciate it, guys.
So much great information, and we're really blessed to be such great partners with NVAR, and I encourage you to continue to support them, continue to open up, because there's so many things that we have available to us through our membership that we don't use. A lot of things they brought up today, a lot of things I'm not even aware of, so that's on me. Every time I talk to Ryan, I learn something new that we're not using that we could utilize. So jump in, use all the services. We're excited about the new place in One Loud, and I think that'll serve a lot of our members being across the county there. So thanks, Ryan and Casey, for
Thanks
coming
so
in.
much.
We're looking
Appreciate
forward
it.
to it.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thanks,
Take
all.
care.
Thanks, everyone.